In 2014, we were presented with the prospect of a new sci-fi movie starring Tom Cruise. It had a time loop plot, which had already been done, generic-looking action scenes, and a title that was blander than a rice smoothie. Everyone expected something instantly forgettable. Instead, what we got was possibly the greatest sci-fi action movie ever made. Bold words? Well, join us in this video as we look to define what makes Edge of Tomorrow such an incredible ride. How is it so engaging? Why does it stick with us? And why do I find an angry Emily Blunt so damn attractive? If you've never seen it, you may have just disregarded it as a generic Tom Cruise action vehicle. But I think you're going to be hard-pressed to find much better sci-fi action out there, so let's dive in and see if we can work out what makes this movie so good. Like a mech-wearing soldier confronted by a time-looping alien, let's punch it. Welcome back to Movie Punch, where we punch movies so you don't have to. Yes, today it's Edge of Tomorrow, which they later tried to rename Live, Die, Repeat, although they could have just gone with the original graphic novel name, All You Need Is Kill, which I think is better than both of the others. Whatever it's called. It's directed by Doug Liebman, written by Chris McQuarrie, Jez Butterworth, and John Henry Butterworth, based on the graphic novel by Hiroshi Sakurasaka. This is absolutely up there for me amongst my all-time favourites, so I am very excited to jump in. Let's get started. Welcome back to Movie Punch, where we punch movies so you don't... Didn't I already do this bit? Oh, I'm stuck in a time loop, aren't I? I really should have seen that coming. Oh, hold on, there's a note here from my producer, Wendy. CJ, I've trapped you in a time loop. All you have to do to escape is to complete the episode without having inappropriate thoughts about Emily Blunt. As such, I expect I will never see you again. I don't know what she's on about. I like Emily Blunt as much as the next guy, but I'll get through this easy. Let's talk death. After many decades of movies, modern audiences have gotten used to certain things. We know that the question, is the hero going to survive? Isn't really a question. The audience knows that, other than a few exceptions, the main character is going to survive to the end of the movie, so the tension just isn't there. The trick then is to get audiences to ask what happens next, rather than will they survive? That's harder than it seems, and a lot of modern action movies feel boring because of it. You sort of know the outcome of the scene. The main character survives before it happens, so you're less engaged. Here though, everything is flipped on its head. It's not just the fact that the characters can die, but that they will die, and so in every scene, you're wondering if death does lie just around the corner, ready to jump out and surprise you. After years of watching Tom Cruise being the unstoppable hero, suddenly we're seeing him fail over and over, and it pulls you in. Will this be the attempt that gets him through? This undercutting of the narrative severity of death also means you can have a lot of fun with it. Seeing a man get his legs broken and then shot in the face shouldn't be funny. But it is when death is only a hurdle, not a wall. I love the way this movie plays around with it. Okay, one section done. Just kept my mind off of Emily Blunt. No problems. Welcome back to Movie Punch, where... Okay, this may be harder than I thought. It's fine. It only took me 4 attempts to get to this segment. I'm going to get through this. I already mentioned Cruise, but I love that he's capable of doing a movie like this, where his character starts off completely unlikable at the beginning. It serves the movie because it's enjoyable to watch him fail those first few times. But it also creates this great arc where Cruise becomes this battle-hardened badass just from being punished over and over and over. The movie would honestly work fine if that was a setup, but then Emily Blunt turns up and completely steals every scene that she's in. Having a character that's already been through the same process is a clever way of getting some exposition across to the audience. But having her be this angry, violent woman is a masterstroke. Cruise is up against an army of aliens, and the scariest thing in the movie is Emily Blunt coming at him with a hard look on her face. And I think it's the mix of the two that I love so much, because one character is never getting enough time to develop feelings for the other. You just keep the fun antagonistic relationship between them for the whole movie. In almost every other movie, over time the feelings of the characters adjust, but here they can't. Emily Blunt's character gets to stay this stoic badass for the whole movie. She's angry and violent and toned. Welcome back to Movie Punch, where we punch movies so you don't have to. I'm doomed, aren't I?
Again. 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 You okay, Cage?
Oh, yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
Your leg's broken.
No, I can still feel my toes. Oh, come on.
Okay, on attempt number 20 now, I think. Oh, hold on, there's another note here from Wendy. I've added some visual cues to help you through the episode. Okay, well that's helpful at least. Should help me stay focused. Welcome back to Movie Punch. That was unfair. Why am I suffering through this? I don't deserve it. I swear, you robbed one grave. Okay, we're on attempt number 65, I think, but it's okay. I think the effect she has on me is wearing off. Let's talk action. I already mentioned how a time loop allows for more engaging action scenes because the audience is more invested, but it also allows for more creativity. A lot of modern action movies become dull quite quickly because the fights and explosions have become commonplace. The idea of spectacle has faded somewhat. Think of scenes in the Transformers movies where robots punch each other and buildings collapse. It was cool the first time, but there are diminishing returns. Here, the action isn't particularly inventive to begin with, but the joy is seeing the same moment multiple times, with a character who knows what's going to happen next just like the audience, and can change things accordingly. It breeds creativity, because the production has to look at a generic fight scene and say, okay, how do we make it different this time? A question I expect that Michael Bay has never asked. While some people might knock this movie for just being another time loop movie that's ripping off Groundhog Day, actually an action movie with repeating set pieces is kind of brilliant. Yes, we may have seen that action before, but the way it's repeated over and over makes it quite unique. That, and Emily Blunt in a mech suit wielding a giant sword, is kind of my movie happy place. Hey, no inappropriate thoughts. The spell is broken. Haha, take that, Wendy. I can think about her as much as I want. Welcome back to Movie Punch. You know what? Okay, that was fair. I was asking for that. I've given up counting attempts now. Let's just assume it's been a while. As much as I love the performances here, I feel like I've raved about them enough, and if I can, I like to give MVP to someone who isn't otherwise mentioned. So today I've decided to give MVP to Doug Liman. Liman isn't one of the biggest name directors, I think mostly because he doesn't necessarily have a distinctive style or gimmicks, but his filmography is really solid, full of great movies across a wide range of genres. There are two things that I think Liman does really well in Edge of Tomorrow. First, it's comedy, which sounds like an odd thing to ask for in a movie like this, but I really feel like you need those moments of lightness to balance out the dark. I think comedy is quite often credited to the writers or the actors, understandably, but I've seen a lot of movies with scenes that would be funny on paper, but fall down because the direction isn't catching the jokes properly. I wouldn't be surprised if there were moments in the script that didn't even come across as funny, but Liman knows when to lean into it to get that laugh. The second thing he can do well is action. I think the success of the Bourne franchise is often put down to Paul Greengrass and his use of quick cuts and shaky cam, but that first movie is still my favourite of the three, and I really feel like the original Bourne movie walked so that the sequels could run. Here, the action is frenetic and fun, but most importantly, it just has that cool factor. Liman understands how to make a scene look awesome, whether it's Tom Cruise mowing down aliens in a mech suit or a Mini darting through the side streets of Paris. I think a lot of people were surprised at how much they end up enjoying Edge of Tomorrow, and I think it's because of just how cool it is. Some movies you want to watch and be engaged by the ideas, the characters, the emotion. But some movies you just want to sit there and say, this rules. No, not going to get me like that again. Just not going to look. You can see where this is going, can't you? Final thoughts. I've nearly made it. It's been hundreds of attempts. How am I going to get to the end? Hold on, I've been going about this all wrong. In the movie, they have to stop doing the same thing over and over again because it doesn't work. I need to go after the real bad guy. Be right back. Okay, I didn't kill the head alien, but I did slap Wendy in the face with a hole punch, and now she's unconscious. She might be upset about that later, but she can come find me when she wakes up. Haha, movie reference, I'm back. Let's do this. So that's Edge of Tomorrow, a huge recommendation from me. I feel like if this movie had been made 20 years ago, it would have been one of those DVD successes where the box office wasn't great, but then everyone discovered it later. But I don't know if that still applies to streaming. Leave me a comment, let me know. Did you see it on release? And if not, have you found it later on? Did you enjoy it as much as I did? I did it. The episode's finished. It's over. Wendy's dispatched, and I can think about Emily Blunt as much as I like now. Welcome back to Movie Punch, where we punch movies so you don't have to. Okay, so I robbed a few graves.